Starting to the bottom left, we have one of the youngest pro gamers in Korea. Definitely the smallest one. It is the Prime player. It is
Maru Prime.
Maru Prime. Was in Korea's once already. Can he do it again? Looking calm, collected as usual. And his opponent starts to the top right, sitting pretty, literally.
Yeah.
We have the Team Liquid player, huge fan favorite. It is
Liquid Hero.
a lot of supports by his teammates. We actually have Jinro once again here, and he's chewing gum as usual.
That's his trademark, man. He's always chewing gum in the booth. A lot of players do this, but Hero always does this.
Yeah, I got a tweet today saying that Hero is here to just kick ass and chew bubble gum. I actually thought he was all out of gum, but apparently he isn't.
No, he's got plenty of that. He wants to do both. He's like, no, it's not kick ass or chew bubble gum. He's like, and it's a different connecting conjunction. Whoa! Maru decided he wanted to stop production of that barracks for a second. That's pretty weird. Very strange indeed. That's actually going to affect his production quite a bit.
Yeah, it definitely will.
Because not only is it going to slow his marine, but it will slow down his orbital as well.
Yeah, definitely. So not really intentional right now.
Yeah, super weird situation. Now Hero's going to be doing the 2-2 gas, where he puts 2 probes in each gas.
Yeah, we're with the double gas already, so here you can see the map win rate for our 2 players. Not really the biggest sample size, 5 games for each of them here in Cloud Kingdom. And let's find... Oh, that's actually one of the older pictures of Hero. Look at that, with the old hair.
Yeah, you know, the new hair was so good, but the more I look at the old hair, I kind of miss it.
Well, I can't really say that I miss the old hair, but I think he looks good with the new style.
So basically you're saying you don't really like the old style. Is that what you're kind of...
No, I'm not comparing styles here.
Oh,
That's
okay.
your thing.
Yeah, well, I think that it has become clear that a change is good. Now, the probe comes up here. We'll actually be deterred by a marine. No scouting information whatsoever for this probe. This is very unfortunate for Hero, but he will save it, which is quite nice. And a factory goes down for Maru. This is an aggressive player who's being aggressive.
One of the interesting things is that you can see here at the match history that the games that they played in Code S ended in Maru's favor. He had the win with a 2-1 against Hero, but was not able to advance. And I want to mention something else. We talked yesterday a little bit about how Creator would not have been allowed to play after 12 o'clock because of this rule that exists in Korea that doesn't allow minors to play after a certain time. It turns out actually that it's not 12 o'clock, but it's 10 p.m. where you are not allowed to play online if you are a minor.
Yeah.
And the thing is that apparently there must be some kind of rule that a player is allowed to play at the GSL at least, because there's just no way that Creator would have been able to play these games.
Very true. And yeah, either that or he's just actually an outlaw now, and he's on the run from
one of the two. But we found it out yesterday. We tried to confirm everything that we mentioned on the screen.
Hero is going for Blink Stalker build, by the way, which could be terrible if Maru decides to go for Blink, but I mean for Cloak. And if Maru decides to go for Blink, man, then I think we're living in an entirely different world than I thought.
Talking about living in a different world, did you know that we lived in the future? Some people this morning compared the actual time that we show on camera to the real time, and it turned out we are 6 minutes in the future, and this is fixed right now as we speak.
Yeah, I was enjoying living 6 minutes in the future, but I could go back.
Too.
I could go back to the present. It was pretty cool there.
Yeah, but we should time it well so that we can actually buy our lottery tickets.
I like that idea. By the way, a little bit of pressure from Hero again is shut down, and he's going for a drop rather than Cloak. So Hero's build is going to work out perfectly for him. He's actually going to be able to deter this drop if he's at home. That's one thing to consider as well. If he actually moves out and tries to hit the fastest possible timing with these Stalkers, then he's not going to be at home, and the drop could do a ton of damage to him.
Yeah, this drop could definitely hurt him quite a lot, and here already comes the first medivac on the move. The Marines are on the ground clearing the Zalnaga watchtowers, trying to limit Hero's vision, who waits for his pylon. It's finished now, so he can start his next round of weapons. Blink is nearly done. He needs the Observer as well for this Blink aggression. And of course, if he's able to snipe the dropship, that would be amazing for him. But Maru is on the move with the Hellions in the medivac.
And Hero knows something's up. He's warping in Stalkers into his main base, preparing for a drop. His Zealot is actually killed by Marines. The Marines are moving into the natural, but the drop defense is ready. The Marines not going to be able to do too much versus Stalkers. And the Marines are trying to distract here. The medevac is spotted, but he only has 2 Stalkers there. If he targets probes, he may get some.
But here are the Stalkers. 2 Hellions are still alive. One of them dies. Probes dying, but not too many of them. 7 in total.
Yeah.
That's still decent. And now the Marines are targeting down the probes one by one. He kills some additional ones. Now 9 workers have been killed. But Maru is at a pretty difficult spot now with losing his entire army. Was it really worth it?
Well, something to consider as well is that he lost all of his Marines, but he does have the starport, and he knows that even though Blink has been the tech of choice, Hero has robotics. He's seen everything, so he's not going to try to invest in a cloak, which is really good for him to know that's not going to be useful. He is continuing Banshee production and siege tanks. He's going to follow this up with another siege tank push, but the concern is going to be the Stalkers are going to be able to circumvent these bunkers with the Observer, and he can actually just blink in right away if he wants to.
He can indeed blink into the main base now, and this is what he will most likely do. And here he is, takes down the siege tank, not just yet. Oh, yep, there it is. Snipes the tank, the SCVs had to be pulled, but all of the Marines are already gone. There are 1 or 2 remaining, that's all there's to it. And Hero doing a lot of damage. Harvester count here 30 to 25 in favor of Maru.
Yeah, this is still a very scary position for Hero. He has to make sure he can take out these Banshees. He does get one, and he will need to blink out again, but the more Stalkers join the mix.
There is just not a lot for Maru to defend. The siege tank mode, the siege mode is nearly done, but there are only SCVs left and 1 tank.
And he just doesn't have any Marines in the bunker. The siege tank is going to siege up here. And a few more Marines do pop out, but the bunker is not close enough to the command center to allow the SCVs to mine fully. And oh, he blinks right on the tank.
Well
I think
done.
Hero has sealed the deal now.
Yeah, Hero with a great strategy here. He lost a few SCVs in the beginning, but he is able to take down the bunker too. Maru not in position with his SCVs. A bit of a misstep here. Was trying to save them. Now his worker count is dropping. He's down to 23 against 28, and Hero has still 10 Stalkers on the map against 1 Banshee and 3 Marines.
Yeah, and those Marines start to fall. Another siege thing about to come out, but it's not going to be enough to deter Hero. His Stalker count is so good that he can actually just blink on top of the tank without losses. There's nothing underneath the tank to protect it. It's going to pop out to die. Targets down the Banshee. Now he will target the siege tank. Blinks right on it. Blocks the SCVs. Now they're in a choke point. They cannot fight. He picks off just 1 Stalker, but the control is way too good for Hero. And Hero with just an old school build here, showing people that you can still do 1 base blink Stalker all in. GG.
Well done by Hero. A well-deserved win in game number 1. Maru now down 1 game. Hero with the first win. Well done. And our next game will actually be a Zerg versus Zerg. So far, 1 Protoss player and a Terran player in a pretty good position here.
Maru looking a little bit shaken by that loss, actually, much more so than I've ever seen him before.
Yeah, indeed.
Like, ever. And I think he knows that the opportunity to win the game was there. Had he, for example, gotten a Raven rather than those 2 Banshees, he would have been able to stop the blink onto the high ground by killing the Observer. And that's just a kind of choice that's hard to make. And he had all the information, and sometimes even when you have all the information, it's hard to make the right choices. And even if he had gotten the Raven, would he have been able to kill the Observer in time before the blink into the main, for example? There's a lot of unanswered questions, and that was a weird game for sure.
Also with a faster bunker, he would have been in a good spot. Even with the SCVs just repairing a little bit better. The siege tank came out and he already knew about the Stalkers on the low ground. If he pulled some SCVs to repair the tank immediately, he is able to hold on for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Because those tanks, of course, with the extra damage against the Stalkers are just so important. But Hero with the aggression was able to snipe the SCVs, snipe the tanks, also the Banshees,
yeah,
of course.
Consider even if he had just only dropped the Hellions, and then, yeah, it did a little bit of damage, he has to get out, but leaves the Marines, then he has a much better position to transition into. Defending against a Blink Stalker all in with that sort of tech is insane. Either way, we're moving into the next set here. Suhoshin versus Shine. Suhoshin obviously down a game after his aggressive play, and I expect nothing less than an early pool, fast gas, late hatchery up against Shine.
Shine in the Zerg versus Zerg, that's a pretty decent player. The GSL Zerg has, of course, great training partners in this mirror matchup. And now he's up against the StarTale player. And Tomb Valley is the map. Game number 3 in this group. Suhoshin against Shine at the GSL Up and Downs.